So originally, I did a bachelor's in business management and marketing here in the UK at the University of West of England. And every summer or so, I would do internships. So prior to that, I took a year out to really understand what I was trying to do. And first, I worked in South America, in Peru and Orphanage, and then I worked in wine production in Cape Town. Then I worked in private equity bank in Paris for a couple of months. All of these were small internships, and then eventually started the bachelor's. So that was fairly generic at the beginning, and then at the end of first year, I did a property management internship in London. Then end of second year, I did a business strategy consultancy internship in Hong Kong, and then eventually I stumbled upon sustainable business frameworks, and that was at the end of third year. After that, I went to work in an organic wine importation and distribution firm in Brazil for a year in Sao Paulo, and then I decided that was fun, but not for me, so I joined a firm called Ashoka in Bangalore, India, that focused on social entrepreneurship directly, and then I joined LSE. After spending a year in social entrepreneurship, again in India, I realized that the practice was full of mergers between corporate best practices and social development frameworks. And I needed to understand them a little better in order to move forward in the field, if that makes sense. And so I started looking at a couple of masters in social innovation, entrepreneurship generally, or social entrepreneurship innovation varies. And few, if not none, actually had this course's perspective on three aspects. First, there was this element of you can do anything once you arrive, in the sense that social entrepreneurship is quite subjective, and you can define it based on your own interests, your own experiences, your own background, and it's up to you to really turn this, what you will be taught here, and everything around it, which is quite core, weirdly enough, to what you want to make out of it. So that was the first aspect that came across quite easily. The second, and especially that came out from speaking to Dr. Nadia Millington, and just after a small conversation on Skype while I was back in India, it was just clear understanding that, first of all, I mean, we looked at the same aspects, general frameworks, sort of look bottom of the pyramid, and really trying to understand how that would work and how we could best study it and then practice it in the field. And that was, all the questions that I had were really fundamentally answered, and all my fears about, about its teachings were dealt with. For example, one of the big problems is that you very quickly fall into this idea of solving a problem, and you immediately want to learn how to fix something. And that's why I love, actually, what this course attracted me a lot is because one of the core aspects of it is understanding social problems. And I think that that is fundamentally necessary in all academia in the field, but also in the practice out there. And there's a huge amount of current practitioners that could use that. The highlight of the program has been most of the courses require you to work with current NGOs and or firms that are focusing on CSR, anything really currently existing in the corporate world that is delving into social development. And so it's up to us to find them, see if we have an interest, and how we can provide some insight and research or study them. I found myself working with organizations and issues that I never thought I was going to be working with because I had a lack of credentials. But for instance, we worked for an organization called Prison Radio Association, which focuses on recidivism here in the UK, and which is something I knew very little about, / none. And it was fascinating to see the kind of work that they're doing and what needs to be done, and how there's thousands of perspectives, thousands of ways to look at it. Then we're also working in healthcare in Bangladesh. That's another project, and so that's another thing of the course that's actually really great, is that we're actually traveling some of these places to actually really engage in the anthropological aspect of it.